G'day, mate. Welcome to Filmmakers Focus. I'm Doc Kennedy. And I suppose you're wondering why I'm doing a horrible Australian accent. That's because our special guest today is Andy Smith, and Andy is from the land down under. And now that I've gotten that out of my system, I promise I will not do any more Australian accents. Andy's going to share with us a little today on how he's gone from having a production job to leaving that job to pursue making feature films. Before we get to that, I want to give you a little update on what's going on with myself. So I still have the part-time job going, and I'm working freelance at the same time. So I'm doing freelance in the morning, job in the evening. And what I want to talk about ties in with Andy and my recording. Andy and mine? Whatever. Anyway, ties in with the recording that Andy and I did. Anywho, so since our time zones are so different, we ended up booking a recording that was 10 p.m. my time and 2 p.m. for Andy, which would have been 2 p.m. the next day, which is kind of weird. I really wanted to pull some Back to the Future 2 type stuff and ask him about, who I should be betting on or whatever. Anyway, it's hard for me to dictate what time I'm going to get off every night because it just depends on my route and how many deliveries there are. And so every night it just kind of fluctuates. And this particular night, I ended up getting home right at 10 o'clock. So we went right from, I'd been working on production stuff earlier in the day, went to work, and then got back. And right when I got home, basically just sat down, hit record, and off we go. And so if you hear me dragging a little bit, if it sounds like I'm dragging a little bit, that might have a little something to do with that. Just tired. So I tell you this, not because I want you to feel sorry for me. I tell you this because I know a lot of you are experiencing the same things. Because we're all working hard at what we want to do. And we all have a desire to be involved in filmmaking in one way or another. And that's going to require long hours and hard work. So I just encourage you to keep pushing through because eventually you're going to break through and you're going to look back at this time as something special, that you were able to persevere and get to that place that you wanted to be. So I just want to encourage you with that. And just know that you're not the only one out there. I know I'm not the only one out there. And it's a pleasure, an honor to be running with people like you. So real quick, I want to give a shout out to Anthony Hayes for leaving an iTunes review. Anthony says, I remember when Doc got his start in podcasting. We run in the same podcasting circles. I'm proud to see the progress and evolution he has made in his journey. Great show, very informative, and great quality show. Thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate that. You're a good man. I always appreciate what you have to say. He's the type of guy that's very encouraging. So thank you for that, Anthony. And I do encourage you to check out Anthony's podcast at memyselfandiradio.com. And once again, leaving an iTunes review means a lot to me. It helps us increase our visibility in the iTunes search engine. And also, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider retweeting, tweeting, posting on Facebook, anywhere you want, Just getting the message out there because, it only takes one person to really impact their lives with this message. And I know Andy has a lot to share today that's going to be impactful for many. And now we'll get to our conversation with filmmaker Andy Smith.
And now our feature presentation.
Welcome to the show, Andy.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
This is exciting. I don't think I've ever had anyone on this podcast or any other podcast I've done from Australia, the land down under. Why don't you share with us a little bit about who you are, what you got going, and what's filmmaking in Australia?
Hi, my name's Andy Smith, and I'm a filmmaker from Perth, Western Australia. I guess the thing I focus on is more documentary film. I just love telling people stories, and I've been working in film for 5-6 years now. I've been making films for much longer than that, and Perth over here, it's a great place. There's a lot of great people doing great stuff. The industry's definitely a bit smaller, but no, I think there's some good people doing some fun stuff with it all.
So have you been working in this field your whole life?
Well, I'm only 29 now, so it's not
Your
been the
whole
longest
adult
life.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, I think about 10 years or so ago, or maybe 10, 12 years ago, I picked up a camera for the first time and just started, playing with it, making silly videos that are very unwatchable. And yeah, just, you continue from there. You learn more, you go to school, and yeah, definitely had some fun with it over the years.
Have you worked in the field professionally, or have you been strictly freelance? What do you got going on when it comes to that?
Um, I've done it a few different ways. I've been a freelancer doing corporates and weddings and whatnot. I worked for many years for a production company here in Perth, and we were making TV shows and a lot of corporates and a lot of mining related videos. And yeah, in the last couple of years, the last year or two, sorry, I've kind of left all that behind for the moment to focus all my time on sort of documentary and features.
So you have this good paying job doing what you love, and you leave that to go down a trail that you really don't know if it's going to work out or not. Is that correct?
Ah, good paying is a very liberal term, but no, it paid the bills and it was paying. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think with that company specifically, and I, I I feel like I'd sort of reached the peak of where I could have gotten within that company, and I knew I was going to leave. I knew I was getting a bit older, and I was like, I have to make my first feature. If I'm ever gonna go out and make my own films, I have to do it, and that was the time I chose to do it. And yeah, just left that behind, and yeah, now I sort of do things for myself, do what I want to do.
So when you decide to make that jump, you're married, right? You got a
I
family.
am.
What's that jump going from, okay, honey, I'm leaving the job?
Oh my gosh, you gotta understand. I have the most understanding wife ever. Like when we first got married, I actually didn't really have an income. Like it was so laughable, it was insane, and she was willing to obviously see something in me. And as soon as my wages started to go up, she's like, "Oh, I want to try something else too." So I think we both have this attitude of like wherever we kind of feel to go, like let's take some risks, especially while you're young, because that's the only time you probably will take those risks.
What do you say to that person that is kind of on the edge of taking a chance? Because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we'd all rather have some money than not. I'm in that boat right now. I'm doing a part time job right now to get back on track because freelance kind of dipped down around Christmas. And I'm just doing what it takes to get back on track. It's not the most comfortable thing, but I'm glad I'm taking those chances, and I'm definitely glad for the last couple of years where I've done freelance, and there's been times where I'm not, I'm wondering where the next meal is gonna be coming from, but and it's not always that tight. There's times where money is abundant, but how do you tell someone you should take that chance, or do you do you talk to each person individually differently, coaching them on, do you go with the job or do you go with pursuing that dream?
Well, I think it's different for every person, you know what I mean, and it's different for everyone's dream. Like, I don't know. I would tell anyone if it's what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like some people, they feel like I don't know, they could go either way, but it's like if you actually want to do something and you feel like, you feel it in your heart, you feel like it's the thing you need to do, I guess, then you just have to do it. You know what I mean? You might make less money. I mean, the year I left my production company job and made my first feature, I had to work for about 8 months for a soft drink company
Yeah.
to make that work. You know what I mean? Whatever you have to do. Like for me, it was like that year after I left my production company job, I have to make a feature film by the end of this year.
Yeah.
And I sort of looked at the dates and stuff. So I went and worked for 9 months just cleaning out refrigerators for a soft drink company. And, it's not what I wanted to do
No.
by a long shot. It was, you know, grotty, sweaty work that with people that weren't doing what I wanted to do. But I knew just to get to that next level, I had to do this first. So that's what I sort of tell people. Like, it's not like you just quit and wait for the world to give you whatever you want. Sometimes it actually gets a lot harder to follow your dream. But no, I would encourage everyone, if it's something you want to do or you feel you need to, even if it doesn't work out, what's worse? Trying something and it fails, or wondering the rest of your life if it could have worked.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hate the what ifs. I refuse to live with what ifs. You know, I don't want to be wondering, you know, what if I would have done something? What if I would have tried? What, you know, I want to know that I did try, and at least I can say that. And a lot of times, you know, I love the fear adage of fear is broke down as false evidence appearing real. We don't know.
Oh, wow.
You know, we don't know what's coming. Yeah, that is a good one, isn't it?
I'm going to use that.
Yeah, yeah. So we really don't know what's coming. And a lot of times it's just a mirage of something that it's not even close to what the reality is. And the reality is that it could be just something that's incredibly wonderful, you know, or maybe it's just another step towards what's you're destined to.
Exactly.
So, Andy, can you share with us a little bit about your first feature? Did you have this idea in mind before you left your job? Was it this vision for this film that you were just like, I have to make this?
Yeah, so what I did was I knew I wanted to make my first feature when I was 27. When I was 28 that year, I knew I wanted to make it. And I was just looking for a project. You know, I was sort of like, all right, you know, you sort of go like, God, or what have you got for me? And I met with these people who were putting on this community project. Basically, they wanted to get a few hundred people to put a few thousand hours of community service just into their local community. And I thought, man, this is such an interesting story of what they're trying to do. And I reckon everybody of those hundreds of people have something really interesting to say. But I feel like the effectiveness of this project will only be found in the people it affects immediately. Like, I just thought, I want to actually take a chance and follow this, and I followed it for about a year, and actually just see what we could produce, letting people share their stories. So yeah, followed that over a year, sort of, you know, a little bit at the start, then a lot at the end, and yeah, made an 85-minute documentary out of it called Love Thy Neighbor.
Wow. And where can that be found?
It's actually available for free download from my website, andysmithfilm.com.
Wow. You're just giving it away.
Yeah, we made this decision. I knew we could have tried to set, like, we could have sold it and gone to like the, you know, religious bookstores and stuff and tried to get it in that way. And I just said, no, this film, I believe, has the power to encourage a lot of people and inspire a lot of people. So we just made it available for download.
That's awesome. We'll have links to that in the show notes at dockennedy.com. So,
oh, thanks.
Man, that's exciting. You know, I love the idea that you went out, you pursued your passion, you made this film, and not only did you make this film, you're just giving it away. You know, that shows the heart of someone that really cares about the work and the story. Well, I'll be downloading that for sure and giving that a good watch. Yeah,
1080 or 720, whichever one you want.
I'm ready. 1080, bring it on. That's awesome. Well, Andy, what's on the horizon for you this year? You've made your first feature. Now what?
Right now, we haven't started filming it yet, but we've got what is most likely going to be feature number 2. And this is more a personal story following one guy's journey as he follows his music career. And it was actually really quite funny. I talked to this guy, and I won't be too specific because we haven't started filming yet, so I don't want to mention too much. But yeah, I contacted this guy. I said I want to make a feature about you, and he goes, "Man, I can't believe you're asking this right now because all this stuff's about to happen." So I was like, "All right, I'm on something good here." No, we got a few ideas we're tossing around with different people and trying to just tell different people's stories. And yeah, we sort of got a few more documentaries we're trying to make too, but it's encouraging people to be willing to share their stories.
Now,
So,
when you say we, do you have a production company now?
I do, but it's a very small one.
Okay.
So when I say we, it's sometimes referring to a team. Other times it's referring to my wife and I.
Yep.
Yeah, there'll always be. I think that's something I love about film, though. It's so collaborative. Like, for my first film, we had a crew of about 8 to 10 people. I forget the exact number, and all of them were volunteer. So yeah, it's like I always say we because it's never gonna just be me.
I agree with
You know,
that.
whether it's someone who might come to help film, someone who might help to come edit, someone who might help to do sound or whatever.
Yep.
Or someone who's just nice enough to come and help me lift a bunch of boxes one day.
Absolutely.
Someone's always it's always collaboration.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, Andy, as we're wrapping up here, do you have any words of advice for the person that's out there that really wants to take on their first feature? They're a little nervous about that. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, man. My advice to anyone would be, obviously, if you've done nothing, maybe start a little bit smaller than a feature length film. But if you want, everyone's got their idea of the thing they want to do, and I believe that for the majority of us, that is a very unique idea. My first feature, not many people were trying to make that. My second feature seems the same. Like no one else is trying to push that right now. And I believe that's the same for everyone else. So if you've got an idea in your heart that's something you have to do, then truthfully, you're probably the only one who can do it. So you kind of have to do it, otherwise it will never happen. Like there's a reason it's on your heart.
I love that because I feel the same way about remakes. You know, we see remakes all the time, but when you have a story that's being told through someone else's vision, it's totally different. And
Exactly.
so each story, even if we've heard the tale before, it's new in this way that we're taking it in.
Exactly.
That's great, Andy. Well, where can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, my website is andysmithfilm.com. And if you want to find me otherwise, I'm on Instagram, which is Andy Smith and Stuff. Yeah, a bit different, but it's always hard because my name's Andy Smith, and there aren't too many things where you can get the handle.
There's only
Andy
a few
Smith.
of those, aren't there? And just a few Andy Smiths out there.
We're growing. It's a growing community. We all hate each other because we all take the good names
Yeah.
on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot.
You gotta jump on that.
Anyone, if I can help anyone, just let me know, man. If this helped you guys in any way, just holler at me. Send me a DM on Instagram.
And we'll have links to that in the show notes at dockennedy.com. And we'll just say goodbye. Thank you again, Andy.
Yeah, if I could say, I just want to thank you very much for putting stuff like this on, man. I think this is really cool that you would put this service out there and that you're helping people, man. So props to you.